Shalom, family. Shalom. Peace and blessings. Shalom, family. Welcome to Tuesday's class, y'all. How y'all brothers doing?
Excellent.
Doing well.
To the most side,
Hey.
man. Excellent, brother. Doing good.
That's what I'm talking about right there, man. That's that energy right there.
Yeah, you feel
Ladies, you all right? I ain't hear you. They didn't give you a chance to talk.
No.
Yeah.
He doing all right. I'm talking on. He doing all right.
all praises.
That's good. I like that. Because the title of today's class is Integrity During Adversity. Having a good attitude, even when things ain't going the way that you think it should be, man. We got to remain righteous in all situations. Can't say it, but you can't just say it. You got to be about it. So we're going to talk about it. Holding your integrity. Shalom, brother Judah. Hopefully you made it back. I know you was out of town. Hopefully you made it back. The family made it back safe.
Yeah. We send up some prayers for that brother and his family, man, to make it back on that plane. All praise to the Most High.
Shalom, Sis Chanel. All right, bro. We can go ahead and sit our prayers.
Men, uncover your heads. Sisters, cover your heads. Men of Israel, blow trumpet. O God, Thou art my God. Early will I seek thee. My soul thirsteth for thee. My flesh longeth for thee in a dry and thirsty land where no water is, to see thy power and thy glory, so as I have seen thee in the sanctuary. Because thy loving kindness is better than life, my lips shall praise thee. Thus will I bless thee while I live. I will lift up my hands in thy name. My soul shall be satisfied as with marrow and fatness, and my mouth shall praise thee with joyful lips. When I remember thee upon my bed and meditate on thee the night watches, because thou hast been my help. Therefore, in the shadow of thy wings will I rejoice. My soul followeth hard after thee. Thy right hand upholdeth me. But those that seek my soul to destroy it shall go into the lower parts of the earth. They shall fall by the sword. They shall be a portion for foxes. But the king shall rejoice in God. Every one that sweareth by him shall glory. But the mouth of them that speak lies shall be stopped. Heavenly Father, we give you thanks for allowing us to see another one of your gracious days, giving us the chance to get it right, giving us the chance to hear your word and apply your word. We ask that you continue to keep that hedge of protection around the nation of Israel. Those that have ear, let them hear and do your word. We ask that you heal the sick among us. In the name of your son, Jesus Christ, we pray. Amen.
All praise to the Most High, Brother D, for that prayer. Like I said, titles today's class is integrity during adversity, man. You know, as we continue to try to, like you say, enter into this grace and be better, it's going to be some times that you mess up. It's going to be some times that you don't do the thing that's required of you, but we must have our integrity intact no matter what, right? A couple months back, I said we're going to start calling this Tighten Up Tuesdays. And honestly, we all got to have a little tighten up, man. Because, you know, it may be those times where you're angry, right? And you say things that you shouldn't say. We can't do that. We can't let that anger overtake you, right? So we gotta, from time to time again, we gotta make sure that we're doing what's right, man. So we gotta be able to withhold that integrity, even when things are going wrong, right? Losing your job, all those different things. And when you look at like the plight of our people, right? You know, it's drowned in poverty, you know, drug addiction, whoremongering. You know, the list kind of goes on. One of the excuses our people give is, man, I'm a product of my environment. They use their environment as a means or an excuse to why they do certain things. We can't do that, right? That's not the Lord hasn't given us a built-in excuse. So that's really what it is. I know I'm gonna do this because I want to do it. My excuse is, man, I'm from this environment, right? But is there any? I got a question for you. Is there any excuse in any situation to sin? I'm gonna answer that. First question:
Repeat the question.
do we have a built-in excuse to sin? Is there an
No,
excuse ever to sin?
there's never an
No.
excuse to sin.
It's never, right? So we're gonna talk about it because the Lord wants us to be honorable men. He wants us to be righteous, withhold our integrity in every situation, right? And we all got work to do on this. So again, we're gonna tighten it up a little bit because we all need it from time to time. But I want to start in the book of Sirach, chapter 32, and verse 14.
The book of Sirach, chapter 32, verse 14. Whoso feared the Lord will receive his discipline, and they that seek him early shall find favor.
It says, whoso feared the Lord will receive his discipline, will receive his word, and do what? He's going to keep his word. You're going to receive that discipline. You're going to correct yourself. You ain't going to want to be in the midst of sin all the time, right? You're going to actually want to do right, right? Then it says, and they that seek him early shall find favor, right? Because we know the child that always wants to do right. What you do with that him? He has a little bit more, you know, because he wants to do right. But the child is always in the midst of sin. It's kind of like, man, this dude just can't get right. That's how the Lord sees us sometimes, right? It's favor in us being obedient to him because we know it's right the first time, right? But, you know, there's no fear of the Lord in these ghettos, in the suburbs, in some of these mansions our people reside in, right? And again, I'm going to put it across the board because it just ain't in the ghettos, right? That's just what we see is when people have in poverty, we just think that they're sinful. But the people that's in the mansions are just as sinful as the people in those ghettos. They're using the same excuse to sin, right? Why? Because they don't fear the Lord. They don't fear the Lord. So when things happen to them, what do they resort to? Right? When things don't go their way, what do they always resort to get out of those situations sometimes?
Sin.
Sin, right? Oh, I can't pay the rent, so I'm gonna go steal. I can't pay the rent, so I'm gonna go sell drugs. I don't have enough money, so I'm gonna do some type of fraud, right? Some of the biggest criminals are on Wall Street, right? That's sin. So we just can't just say that people that's in the ghettos, or in these hoods per se, where we come from, is sinful. It's all the way around the board, because most of our people don't keep the commandments, right? But those who fear the Lord, right, shall receive his discipline. We're gonna find favor. But jump down to verse 17 now.
Verse 17, a sinful man will not be reproved, but findeth an excuse according to his will.
Right. So a sinful man, whether you're in the ghetto, the suburbs, in a mansion, you're gonna always find an excuse to sin. Why? Because your will, that's what your will wants to do. It ain't the Lord's will. The Lord's will wants you to be righteous, right? He wants you to keep the commandment, but your will is to sin, right? The will of the people of this world is what? To give as much as, whatever means necessary. If I got to step on my brother to get there, that's what they're going to do, right? We're called to be righteous, which we know comes by what? The keeping of the law. It comes by keeping of the law, right? So we got to have integrity in whatever circumstances that we're in, whether we're rich, whether we're poor, whether we're down and out, whether we're sick, whether we're angry, because a lot of us like to use the excuse of us being angry, right? That's our will to want to act on that anger. We can't do that. When we do that, we show others that what? We ain't what we say we're meant to be. We got to be blameless, right? So from there, let's go to the book of Sirach, chapter 15 and verse 13. The Lord wants us to be righteous, man. He wants us to be a witness, a good witness to him.
The book of Sirach, chapter 15, verse 13. The Lord hated all abomination, and they that fear God love it not.
So we're going to deal with that. The Lord hateth all abomination. I want y'all to name me some abominations so we're clear, because when we in the world, people think abominations are one thing, but what are some of the abominations that the Lord hates, y'all? Name some real quick.
Adultery.
What else, bro? Come on, Zach. I know you know some.
Defiling your temple.
Defiling your temple. That covers a lot, right? That covers a bunch.
That covers sexual immorality, whoremongering. That covers smoking, drinking to excess. That covers a lot. You know what I mean?
Right.
Idolism,
all those different things. What the Lord says a woman wearing pants is an abomination, right? But they don't think about it like that. They all just clothes. The Lord said he hate.
So you can summarize all abomination to one word, and that's sin.
It's sin. See, they be trying to equate it just to one thing. Oh, it's just that, and this sin is just a small one. No, it's all sin, because all sin is going to get you what? It's going to get you death.
It's that good old death. That good old fire.
Going to get you death, right?
Oh,
right?
Lord, Jesus is the fire.
not my God.
So here it says, the Lord hated all abominations, and they that fear God love it not. So what we not love, we don't love abominations. We hate sin, just like he hates sin. We're likening it to our God, right?
I'm glad you said that. We hate sin. We hate sin. That's something. Hey, when you think about that, right? When you think about that, because the Lord is about love and hate. When you think about hate and sin, that means you hate to see your people in sin. So You're gonna do everything you can to get them out of that thing.
Yep.
Everything you can. You ain't gonna see the sister dressed like a harlot, and you like, They ain't gonna be your mindset. You're gonna be like, man, I can't stand this damn place. Yep. This sister trying to get me killed. Your whole mindset is gonna be different. She trying to kill me. Nothing look good. None of that look good. That's death.
Death.
So every time you see sin, that's your mindset. Like if somebody trying to entertain or make you entertain that sin and everything, man, you gotta look at it like that. They trying to kill me.
Yeah. So we see our people in the midst of it, right? We're gonna hate it, and we ain't gonna be in the midst of that. We ain't gonna be in the midst of it. Why? Because we fear the Lord. Right? In any situation, we're gonna try to uphold our integrity in every situation. Because when you look at like you use the example of a woman, right, dressing horse, the world's thought of beauty is that. But coming into this walk, the eye of beauty that we behold is modesty, right? It's righteousness. It's your wife loving you, right? That person loving them. That's true beauty right there. That's true safety in that. So the mindset, it changes, right? But read verse 14.
Verse 14. He himself made man from the beginning and left him in the hand of his counsel.
Verse 15, read that.
If thou wilt to keep, if thou wilt.
Hold on. You can't breeze past that last part.
Yeah, I was gonna.
No, you can't breeze past that. Read that 14 one more time.
He himself made man from the beginning.
So Christ made man himself from the beginning. He was commanded. He made man from the beginning and did what, brother?
And left him in the hand of his counsel.
What's the counsel that was left in the hand?
Keep the commandments.
So when he made man, when he made Adam and Eve, he left them commandments. Y'all see that? When he initially made us, we had the commandments of God. So it should be no question when the commandments came into play. Or did they come into play during the time? That should never even be a question. The Lord gave us the commandments from the beginning. And guess what? We agreed to keep them. We said we would do it. The Lord said, hey, these are the commandments. When he commanded those things, the Bible says no man spake against it. No man spake against it. So what that mean? We all agreed. What they say at church, touch and agree. Everybody agreed to do that thing.
Yeah.
Now look at us. Good.
Right. No, yeah, I was gonna say, because 15 it's a semicolon right there, right? So they kind of go hand in hand, but he made us to keep his commandments, right? From the beginning, he left us that counsel. Why the law is our heritage? It's because it's our heritage, right? Right, and we got to keep them faithfully. That's what 15 says. Did you read 15 yet?
No, sir. If thou wilt to keep the commandments and to perform acceptable faithfulness.
Acceptable faithfulness. That's in any time of trouble. That's when you're down and out, you're gonna be faithful to those commandments. Why? That's what we're about. That's what we were known for. It's keeping the laws. When the heathen and other nations saw us, oh, those law keepers, right? That's their God. They different, right? That's how we must be known in every situation. So if you ever see us out, they're gonna know them people right there. They do right, and that's what we should be known by. That integrity, which is upheld by His law, statutes, and commandments. Right. Verse 16.
He had set fire and water before thee. Stretch forth thy hand unto whether thou wilt.
No, it says He made us from the beginning. He gave us a law, right, and left us to that counsel. But because of what Adam did, right? Now it's fire and water on both sides. Now it's tribulations. Now it's death. Now it's pain. Now it's sickness. Right? I'm gonna give you these hard times, but you still gotta stay on that straight and narrow. You gotta still stay on keeping the commandments, right? But it says, stretch forth thy hand into what you say?
You know what's heavy about the Lord giving us the commandments in the beginning? Y'all gotta think about this. When the Lord gave us commandments, right? What did He require of us? Just to keep the commandments. Did we have to till the grounds? Did we have to serve the other nations?
No.
So there was no stipulations given other than to keep the commandments, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now we got to do all that garbage just to prove to the Lord that we're faithful.
Yeah.
We got to do all that nonsense. We got to till the ground. We got to work. We got to serve our oppressor. We got to do all this nonsense just to prove to God that we're worthy of Him, that we're worthy to even be able to be called and keep the commandments. That's crazy to think about. The Lord gave us listen. He watered the herbs and crops and everything to give us meat and food. Like, we ain't had to do nothing. Now we got to do everything. And some people don't want to even do that. We got to do everything now.
Yeah.
Whereas when the Lord gave us the commands in the beginning, we had the garden was already planted. Was it not?
Yeah.
The kingdom was already given. The everlasting life was already ours. We ain't had no stick, man. We ain't had to do nothing but keep the commandments, and we couldn't even do it then. That's why it's hard right now. It's gonna be hard, man. You know what I'm saying? That's why we gotta incite our people to keep these laws, man.
Right.
Gotta incite them to keep the laws, because if you were given everything then and you was in a what is it, extraterrestrial type body,
Yeah.
you wasn't even in this physical body, and you still sin, man, it's gonna be hard, man. So we can't be too hard on each other. We can't be too hard on each other, man. We gotta help build each other up, man. I had a little dream about that thing, man. We gotta build each other up, and it ain't about us. It's about building our people up, man, getting better, making sure that we good, man, making sure we all get the kingdom, man.
Yeah.
Knowing where everybody is deficient at and building each other up, man. That's what we got to do, y'all. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Right. No. It's perfect, man, because at the end of the day, it's about all of us. You know, we're brought up to think so narrow-minded, just ourselves, our own households, right? But to have, you know, people that actually think about the whole and everybody else, that's what's going to, you know, eventually benefit all of us, right? But verse 17.
Verse 17. Before man is life and death, and whether him like it shall be given him.
It says, and whether him like it shall be given. So whatever you choose, you can choose life or death. Life, which is keeping the commandments, and death, which is what? Which is sin. I got a question. Where else can we read this? Because again, the Bible explains itself over and over again, right? Go to Deuteronomy 30 and verse 15. He gave us a choice, man. We're in the midst of, fire and water on both sides, but he's going to tell you, he straight up choose life or death. You gotta be, make the right choice. If not, this is the consequence for it. Deuteronomy 30 and verse 15.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 30, verse 15. See, I have before thee this day life and good, and death and evil.
All right. So again, this is after we're giving the commandments, right? Moses is giving a little pep talk. Say, all right, y'all don't choose right. All right, choose this day. What you gonna do? Day, life and good or death and evil. Keep reading.
Verse 16. In that I command thee this day to love the Lord thy God, to walk in his ways, and to keep his commandments and his statutes and his judgment, that thou mayest live and multiply. And the Lord thy God shall bless thee in the land whether thou goest to possess it.
So that's that first part. That's that life, right? That's that life in good. That's that health, right? It says that you mayest live and multiply. You ain't gonna die, right? Choose life or death. Come on. So we're gonna get the death part of verse 17.
But if thine heart turn away, so that thou wilt not hear, but shall be drawn away and worship other gods and serve them.
So it says, if you don't turn your heart, if you turn your heart away and be drawn away by what? By the things of this world, the lust of the flesh. We named some of those things earlier, right? Idolatry, these abominations, right? That we're choosing. He says it's going to be death in the midst of that. That's what we got. That's what we got to combat on a daily basis, man. Right now, they out. I went to the store today. Everybody's out getting ready for this hell day, Thanksgiving. Our people celebrating the death of our people. All that we got to navigate and be told that y'all don't want to be a part of us. No, we're gonna choose life. That's what we're doing. We're choosing life right now. You're choosing life by being here on the class and trying to get yourself together, trying to tighten yourself up. That's what we're commanded to do, right? Verse 18.
I denounce unto you this day that ye shall surely perish, and that ye shall not prolong your days upon the land whether thou passeth over Jordan to go to possess it.
So you're gonna die. You will die. That's what he told Adam, right? Don't eat from that tree. If not, you're gonna die. He didn't believe it. We got to start believing when the Lord says something, right? Come on.
I call heaven and earth to record this day against you, that I have set before you life and death, blessing and cursing. Therefore choose life, that both thou and thy seed may live.
So because we don't understand, right? The choices that we make right now, right? You just think that when you keep these commandments, you teach it to your kids, you just teaching them. No, what you think they're going to do? Hopefully they teach their kids, and they teach their kids to do what? To choose life. That's what the Lord wants us to do, man. He wants us to live. You think he wants to kill all of us? Now, he knows the truth. He knows we're going to be disobedient, but he wants us to choose life in every situation, in every occurrence in our life, to choose life, no matter what's going on to you, right? But so again, this proves there is no license to do what? To sin. Jump back to Sirach 15 and verse 20. We can't make an excuse because of our circumstances. Say, you know what? I'm here. Everybody around me is, partaking in this. It's just what it is. No, the Lord requires your obedience to keep his commandments. Sirach 15 verse 20. Yeah.
The book of Sirach, chapter 15, verse 20. He have commanded no man to do wickedly, neither have he given any man license to sin.
You see how he put that license? You go to the DMV, right? You take your little driving classes, right? And then you go and you do the actual practice test and you driving. You ain't give me no license to do that. Go out here and practice how to sin. He didn't give us no license to sin in any situation. When you say I want that license to sin, that means you want death to come upon you, man. So there is no excuse. It can't be that, we're in captivity. That's one of the first things I heard in this walk. We're in captivity. That's the first built-in excuse that I heard. I'm like, what? We're in captivity. Okay, so that means I can't do something. Anyway, you can't use I'm in poverty. No, it's anything. It's either life or death. So we got to remain faithful in this walk, man. So our virtue has to be to a point whether we're the king, the leader, the bishop, the janitor, we have to hold on to our righteousness, man. Right? Which we know is by the word. And I was reading this earlier, James 1:5 and verse 1. Because it gives, when you think about a rich person, a lot of people think that just because they're rich, they're good. When a lot of times the richest person, they feel they wicked. Look at Bill Gates, right? We already know he's a heathen, but look at TD Jakes. They got all the money in the world. But do they hold to their integrity? Mm-mm. James 5 and verse 1.
The book of James, chapter 5, verse 1. Go to now, ye rich man, weep and howl for your misery that shall come upon you. So
it's telling rich man, when you think a rich man, you're up on yachts and stuff like that, you think they having a good old time, right? But he's saying right here, it says, how? For your miseries that shall come upon you. You got something coming towards you. Let's see why. Keep reading.
Your riches are corrupted.
Corrupted. Why? Because it's ill-gotten, right? You're in the midst of sin. That money is your God. And you got something coming towards you. Of our people that's rich. They hold that money as their God. Right? Come on.
And your garments are moth-eaten.
It's filthy, right? Come on.
Your gold and silver is cankered, and the rust of them shall be a witness against you.
How's it going to be a witness against you? Because on that day, did you do what's required of you? No, but I gained all this money. Did you help your brother that was in need? But no, but I stored up all this money. It's going to be a witness against them that day. Why? Because they held true to, they wanted money over keeping the commandments of the Lord, right? Keep reading.
Did you gain it in righteousness?
Did you gain it in righteousness?
And the rust of them shall be a witness against you, and shall eat your flesh as it were fire.
Man, come on.
Ye have heaped treasure together for the last days.
So you heap all these things that you accumulate over time. But like the brother said, by ill-gotten means, right? Ponzi schemes, all those different things. You stealing from the congregation, all those different things. Those going to witness against you in the last days. All those treasures. You got all this, but where's your works according to the commandments? All right, go in that lake of fire. That's what's going to be the judgment for that. Keep reading.
Behold, the hire of the laborers Behold, the hire of the laborers who have reaped down your fields, which is of your keep, back by fraud. Crying.
It says, behold, the hire of the laborers who have reaped down your fields. So you don't hire somebody to do the work, which is of you kept back by fraud. So you don't defraud a brother. You don't have them out here doing all this work, and you ain't paying them accordingly. That's how you got that's how you rich. Now your brother's in need. That's why in the midst of poverty, right? So it's like a trickle down effect because we ain't helping each other. Now in Acts 4, in 4, How do we treat each other? We had all things common. But in this case, these brothers ain't acting that way. They're misusing their own people, and they're becoming rich when the rest of the people are in poverty. All right, keep reading.
And the cries of them which have reaped are entered into the ears of the Lord of Sabaoth.
You think the Lord don't hear those prayers? You don't think the Lord see the plight of their people? You don't think the Lord sees your wickedness? That's why it says you have heaped treasure together for the last days. That judgment is going to come up against you, right? Come on.
Ye have lived in pleasure on the earth and been wanting. Ye have nourished your hearts as in the days of slaughter.
Come on.
Ye have condemned and killed the just, and he do it, not resist you.
Man, it says you have condemned and killed the just. Now, a lot of people say, well, that we judge, all right, like we're condemning them. In this sense, it said you have condemned and killed the just, and doth not resist, and he doth not resist you. These are those rich men that we're talking about, man. So when we think about the integrity of this brother, y'all think he has integrity? You think he has any honor? I think he has any honor. The people that deal like this?
No.
Even in their riches, when they have the means to help their brothers, they not holding to that integrity. So all y'all that may have money, you got to be 10 times. No, you got to be the same as everybody. I'll take that back. We all got to be, have that integrity and test, whether you're rich or poor. But this is not this in this example. It's not. But watch what the Lord says, right? Verse 7.
Verse 7. Be patient, therefore, brethren, unto the coming of the Lord. Behold, the husband waited for the precious fruit of the earth, and had long patience for it, until he received the early and latter rain.
Come on.
Be ye also patient, establish your hearts, for the coming of the Lord draweth nigh.
So you may be going through some things, right? Again, if you're holding firm to your integrity, right, no matter what state you're in, he says, hold on, be patient, establish your heart, be grounded in this word, in this law that he's given. Why? Because keeping the law is life, right? Breaking it is death. So no matter what circumstance you're in, if your integrity is keeping the law, you're okay. Why? The Lord's gonna come in and do what he needs to do. Come on.
Verse 9. Grudge not one against another, brethren, lest ye be condemned. Behold, the judge standeth before the door.
Come on.
Take, my brethren, the prophet, who have spoken in the name of the Lord, for an example of suffering, affliction, and of patience.
So last week, I did a class over Peter, right? And we're going to try to do this a little bit more. Right? Here's telling us to look to who? Look to your brethren, the prophets. Look to time past. Again, those who feared the Lord, were they confounded? Even in their suffering, their affliction, in patience, right? Were they confounded? Elijah, right? Him facing death. All the prophets facing death. Did they hold firm to their integrity? Did they? They did, right? And each time they were delivered all those things. Yeah, it may seem bad because they were killed, but their treasure is to come, right? They have faith in that kingdom. And it's the same thing that we have to hold firm to, even in our afflictions that we may go through. Verse 11.
Verse 11. Behold, we count them happy which endure. Ye have heard of the patience of Job, and have seen the end of the Lord, that the Lord is very pitiful, and of tender mercy.
So we know the history of Job, right? His whole family was wiped off. Brother went through it, had boils and everything, right? But it says, behold, we count them happy which endure, because we know that at the end of that endurance is what? That's the payoff, whether it's in this life or the life to come, right? That's what we hold faith to. We have heard the patience of Job and have seen the end. We've seen that example. So as we go through life, man, we got to look back at these examples. Nothing that we've gone through, somebody's gone through it before. Some have gone through it with, in unrighteousness and not being honorable and killing and stealing from their people. And some people have held to their integrity. One of those such people is Joseph. When you read this history of Joseph, man, he went through one thing at the other, at the other, at the other, at the other. I love this history because this was a man that did what? He established his heart. He stood on the word of the Lord. And no matter what circumstance he was in, he did what was right. And for that, he found what? He found favor He was happy to do what thus said the Lord, right? So we're gonna look at Joseph as an example, man. Let's see this brother affliction and see if he caved, if he gave in, right? So we're gonna start in the book of Genesis, chapter 37 and verse 1. We're gonna read a little bit. We're gonna get some of these accounts because again, he went through multiple things and they documented. They made sure we knew what he went through.
The book of Genesis, chapter 37, verse 1. And Jacob dwelt in the land wherein his father was a stranger, in the land of Canaan. These are the generation of Jacob. Joseph, being 17 years old, was feeding the flock with his brethren, and the lad was with the sons of Bala, and with the son of Zephi, his father's wife. And Joseph brought unto his father their evil report.
Now, what is Joseph doing? The evil report. He's telling them what their brother's in the midst of, right? You know, we've all had that brother in the past that, you know, it seemed like they call it snitching. Man, you always tell it, right? But again, if you do something wrong, you should want that correction. But in that, the little brother, he's 17, bring those evil reports. What does that cause with the other? Man, he always tell it. Man, he can't do nothing, right? You know, when you're in the midst of sin, right? They don't want you don't want your things to get out there. So Joseph, right? But he's a young man, 17. Keep reading.
Verse 3. Now Israel loved Joseph more than all his children, because he was the son of his old age, and he made him a coat of many colors.
Come on.
And when his brethren saw that their father loved him more than all his brethren, they hated him and could not speak peaceably unto him.
So the older brother hating him, right? Now we know this is our people, right? The 12 patriarchs: Reuben, Simon, Levi, Judah, right? But right here, this chapter starts with Joseph, the young man, youngest, not the youngest. He was one of the youngest, right? Youngest, one of the youngest of the 12 brothers. In his history, right, we're gonna see that Joseph was used to fulfill a purpose of the Lord. It wasn't the oldest. It wasn't Reuben. It wasn't Judah. It wasn't Levi or Simeon. It was one that no one expected. Why y'all think that is? Y'all know how the Lord deal, all right? 1 Corinthians 27, verse 29. We think that this stuff be by happiness, just by chance. The Lord is meticulous. He wants to use the smallest thing to do what? 1 Corinthians 1 and verse 27.
Corinthians chapter 1, verse 27. God had chosen foolish things of the world to be wise, and God had chosen the weak things of the world to confound the things which are mighty.
Right. It says, but God had chosen the foolish things, the things that people say, man, they can't be of the Lord, right? That's how we're gonna be looked at. That's the people of God. What? Because wow, they see the nature of our people right now. The Lord's going to use the most despised to do what? We're going to get it here in a minute, but it says the weak things of the world to confound the things which are mighty, the things that you think that are great. He's going to use the smallest thing. And when you think it just because of happiness, not for that reason. Verse 28.
A base thing of the world and the things which are despised have God chosen, yea, and things that are not, to bring to naught things that are.
Right. So it says in base things. Are we not the base things of this world? And again, if you go to any country, you're gonna find our people, those so-called black, so-called Hispanics, and so-called Native American. You're gonna find us, right? The despised of this world. You know, the worth of the thing that they think is worthless, right? It says God has chosen. It says, yea, and things which are not, to bring to naught the things that are. It's for a reason. His brother Joseph, he's one of the youngest ones. He's hated of his brothers, but the Lord's going to use him for a purpose. Verse 29.
That no flesh should glory in his presence.
That no flesh should glory. He don't want. He's using us, but the glory should be for him, right? The glory should be for him. So he's going to use the despised. He's going to use little old Joseph, right? So, we're going to see that. We're going to see the way that Israel was able to overcome by little old Joseph, who was hated. To do what? To bring the Lord glory, right? So jump back to Genesis 37 and verse 5. Little old Joseph.
The book of Genesis, chapter 37, verse 5. And Joseph dreamed a dream, and he told it his brethren and he told it his brethren, and they hated him yet the more.
Man, so brother out here, he having dreams. And we know the Lord used to give messages through dreams, right? In the night. So this brother got a gift. And he's telling to his brother, they don't understand. They don't understand. Yeah, but brother's been given a gift and they hate him more because of it. Let's see what the dream was about.
And he said unto them, Hear, I pray you, this dream which dream. For behold, we were binding sheaves in the field, and lo, my sheaves arose, and also stood upright. And behold, your sheaves stood round about, and made obeisance to myself. And his brethren said unto him, Shalt thou indeed reign over us? Or shalt thou indeed have dominion over us? And they hated him yet the more for his dreams and for his words.
So the brothers hated him, right? But he had a dream where it was some sheaves in the field, right? And they're bowing down to Joseph, right? They're doing obeisance to him. Obedience, right? They're bowing down to him, right? So they're like, man, who are you? This little 17-year-old boy. You don't know nothing. But they don't understand. The Lord's trying to show them how he's going to deliver us, right? Again, he loves us. He's going to use little Joseph. But they hate him because of that. And that hatred drives them to do what? To commit evil, right? That's why I said in that anger, we got to watch how you act, because in that anger, you can do something that you're going to regret in the end. But the Lord was with his brother, right? The Lord, he had a bigger goal in mind in just this instance, right? Right? We don't understand the Lord's perspective, right? But Joseph did. So jump down to verse 18. We're going to see what that anger did.
Verse 18, and when they saw him afar off, even before he came near unto them, they conspired against him to slay him. And they said one to another, Behold, this dreamer cometh. Come now, therefore, and let us slay him, and cast him into some pit, and we will say, Some evil beast has devoured him, and we shall see what will become of his dream.
You see that? Man, they up here conspiring to kill their brother. They want to kill that anger and that bitterness towards him. You know, he's getting the love of his father. They're letting that drive them to want to kill him. Do they not know the commandments? The commandments given us from the beginning. Thou shalt not kill. Why are they not being honorable? Why are they don't have no control of their spirit? They're killing their brother. Now, we didn't see this before, right? Cain killed Abel. We've seen that before. Hatred, right? But it's for a reason. They won't want to kill him, but I want you to keep reading. You want to read the 36, bro. I want to read all this history right here.
Verse 21. And Reuben heard it, and he delivered him out of their hands, and said, Let us not kill him. And Reuben said unto him, Shed no blood, but cast him into this pit that is in the wilderness, and lay no hand upon him, that he may rid him out of their hands, to deliver him to his father again. And it came to pass, when Joseph was come unto his brethren, that they stripped Joseph out of his coat of many colors that was on him. And they took him and cast him into a pit, and the pit was empty. There was no water in it.
So Reuben trying to have some type of integrity, even though he should have been, again, it's one of those instances where somebody should have raised their voice and said, No, bro, that's our brother. What are y'all thinking? He's trying to plot and do other things, but this is of the Lord, man. This is of the Lord. He's thrown into a pit. We're going to jump down. We're going to see what happens, right? They wanted to kill him. So Reuben had them not kill him, right? He's thrown into a pit. But again, the purpose of the Lord has to be done. You just think you're going through some things and you're just going through them. No, it's for a reason. Jump to verse 27.
Verse 27. Come and let us sell him to the Ishmaelites, and let not our hand be upon him, for he is our brother and our flesh. and his brethren were content.
So he was sold into slavery, man. He was sold into slavery. They was going to put him into a pit, but he was sold into slavery. Again, the purpose of the Lord has to be done. Jump down to verse 36.
Verse 36. And the Midianite sold him into Egypt unto Potiphar, the officer of Pharaoh and captains of the guard.
So you think that's by coincidence? Just so happened he was sold into slavery, but this brother is sold to somebody who's high ranking in the kingdom of Egypt. Again, it's building up to something, right? This brother's going through it. It's just the first thing, being betrayed by his brother. Could you imagine being out there? You got all these 11, because he ain't no young men, right? These are older men wanting to kill him. Little old Joseph, right? This is some tribulation right here. His brothers are trying to kill him. This had to be horrible. This brother going through that. He holds his integrity though, right? Now most, if not all, in this situation, right, probably would give up hope. You done been betrayed by your brother, man. Like, man, give up hope. But remember, we got a God. In every situation, remember, we got a God, right? No matter what you think you're going through. If you hold on to, you being faithful, we got a God in all situations. Through the fire and that water, man, on both sides. Joseph hold fast to his integrity. So we're going to go to, he's in Egypt now, right? Genesis 39 and verse 1. Brother went through it. So that's being betrayed by his brother. Let's see what happens when temptation comes.
The book of Genesis, chapter 39, verse 1. And Joseph was brought down into Egypt, and Potiphar, and the officer of Pharaoh, captain of the guard, an Egyptian, brought him of the hand of the Ishmaelite, which had brought him down thither.
Come on.
And the Lord was with Joseph, and he was a prosperous man, and he was in the house of his master, the Egyptian.
So that excuse of all we in captivity, that goes out the window. This brother's in captivity. He's a young man in captivity, but he was prosperous, right? Because the Lord was with him. He kept the commandments. We can do this, y'all. You can do this if you keep the commandments. That's one of the first things that we try to say. We're in captivity once you have this understanding. That's no excuse anymore. This is during olden times, per se. The Lord was with him. And each step that he goes through, the Lord is with him. He prospers. Right? Come on.
And his master saw that the Lord was with him, and that the Lord made all that he did to prosper in his hand.
So you don't think these other nations know our God? They see when somebody's is touched by God, they want to be by you. That's how it always is, right? The more and more you read it, Daniel, right? They see that you got favor of the Lord. They want to have favor too. They're gonna have you by them. It's for a purpose, right? And we're gonna get it. Verse 4.
And Joseph found grace in his sight, and he served him, and he made him overseer of his house, and all that he had, he put into his hand.
Man, come on.
And it came to pass from the time that he had made him overseer in his house, and over all that he had, that the Lord blessed the Egyptian's house for Joseph's sake.
For Joseph's sake. Right?
And
come on.
And the blessing of the Lord was upon all that he had in the house and in the field.
Come on, jump down to verse 10.
And it came to pass as she spake to Joseph day by day.
I'm sorry, no. Go back. I'm sorry. Keep reading.
What about you?
Verse 7.
Verse 7. And it came to pass after these things that his master's wife cast her eye upon Joseph, and she said, lie with me. But he refused and said unto his master wife, behold, my master wotted not what is with me in his house, and he committed all that he had to my hand. So
brother's being tempted now by a woman. He's been tempted. It says in verse 6, he's a goodly person, right? He has a high status, status in the kingdom. This is the king's wife trying to get him, getting that temptation. What would y'all do in this situation? What do a lot of our men do in this situation? They give into that lust, man. Joseph don't do that. Let's see what he does. Keep reading.
There is none greater in the house than I. Neither had he kept back anything from me but thee, because thou art his wife. How then can I do this great wickedness and sin against God?
Man, come on.
And it came to pass, as she spake to Joseph day by day, that he hearkened not unto her to lie by her or to be with her.
So this lady was on him every day. Every day was on him. He says, spake to Joseph day by day, tempting him. His brother had to endure all that. He had to hold fast. He was like, man, you want me to sin against my God? He holds his integrity. Verse, keep reading.
And it came to pass about this time that Joseph went into the house to do his business, and there was none of the men of the house within. And she caught him by his garment, saying, lie with me. And he left his garment in her hand and fled and got him out.
So again, this is an example that we gotta always remember. A lot of us, we're in the midst of these, heathen women, and people don't keep the commandments. It's temptation out there. When I think about that, I think about this scripture right here. 1 Corinthians 6 and verse 18. This brother ran. A lot of times, we got to run from situations, literally, to hold your integrity, man, because we know the people of the world do not. They don't care. They'll cheat on their husbands quicker than, a drop of a dime, right? 1 Corinthians 6 and 18.
1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 18. Being then made free from sin, ye became the servants of righteousness.
No, 1 Corinthians 6 and 18. I'm sorry.
I read the wrong one. My 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 18. Flee fornication. Every sin that a man doeth is without the body. But he that committed fornication sinned against his own body.
Flee fornication. Flee that lust. That's what this brother did, man. Because every sin that the man doeth is without the body. But he that committed fornication sinned against his own body. Now, what would have happened if Joseph would have slept with this woman? He would have been put to death. And the purpose of the Lord would have stopped. Right? He would have lost out on him, that favor that the Lord had for him. He held his integrity because that the Lord can use you. When you do that, when you do what's required, the Lord can use you at that point. He can trust you, right? Jump back to Genesis 39, verse 13.
The book of Genesis, chapter 39, verse 13. And it came to pass, when she saw that he had left his garment in her hand and was fled forward, that she called unto the men of her house and spake unto them, saying, see, he had brought in a Hebrew unto us to mock us. He came in unto me to lie with me, and I cried with a loud voice.
Hold on now. Don't that sound like one of our commandments? Y'all think these nations don't know our law? She knew, man, I cry loud, but they it ain't for them. But they understand, man. She's lying at this point. You're up here tempting his brother, and then gonna get him thrown in prison, right? She probably was afraid that he was gonna go tell her husband, right? But she's trying to preserve her life at this point. Jump to verse 20 now. Let's see what happens.
Verse 20. And Joseph master took him and put him into the prison, at a place where the king prisoner were bound, and he was there in the prison.
Man, his brother went back into prison. This brother's going through it. He went from being killed, being sold, thrown in prison again, to being, the right-hand man to the king, to being tempted. He's going through it. He's going through that fire and water, right? But he's still holding on to the commandments, man. He's still holding on to that faith of the Lord. Keep reading.
But the Lord was with Joseph and shewed him mercy and gave him favor in the sight of the keeper of the prison.
No matter where he go, he find that favor because he's doing right. Again, if he would have gave him to that favor is gone at that point. That favor is gone, but because he's doing what's required of him, now he can still use him. Read to verse 23.
And the keeper of the prison committed to Joseph's hand all the prisoners that were in the prison, and whatsoever they did there, he was the door of it. The keepers of the prison looked not to anything that was under his hand, because the Lord was with him, and that which he did, the Lord made it to prosper.
So being falsely accused, tempted, thrown into prison, he still found favor, man. Did Joseph make excuses for his circumstances? No, he remained faithful. We can't make excuses for our circumstance. We just got to do what's required of us, man, in anything, right? Some of us may have to deal with this. What y'all gonna do if y'all thrown in prison or being falsely accused? We get that, that's since the beginning of you being alive. You've heard of somebody being thrown in jail for something they did not do. That's why they got something called the Innocence Project, right? People spend 50, 60, 30 years in prison for doing something that they didn't do, right? How about you be thrown in prison for keeping the commandments and it's right? That's what we're gonna have to deal with. Revelation 2 and verse 10.
The book of Revelation, chapter 2, verse 10. Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that ye may be tried, and ye shall have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life.
Right, so it says the devil, the deceiver. We got a lot of deceivers out here, man. We got a lot. I used to watch this movie called Rosewood. Y'all seen that movie? Mm-hmm. When the lady was cheating on her wife, she come outside telling me it was a. Y'all seen that movie before?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Being falsely thrown in prison, man, that started a whole ride. But some of us,
she was cheating on her husband. You said cheating on her wife.
Oh man, cheating on her husband. Hey, look, cheating on her husband, right? My son's trip out on it. It was they trip out on it anyway. But right here, this is future prophecy, man. He's giving us. It says that deceiver, the devil, may cast some of you in prison. Y'all gonna be able to endure that? It tells us, but be faithful. It says, so you can be tried to see if you're gonna hold your integrity in every circumstance. Right? It's gonna happen. You got to build yourself up for that, right? Remain faithful unto death. We got many examples of that. It says at the end of that, if you endure, you're gonna get what? You're gonna get that crown of life. That's what we're trying to get, man. We're trying to get that crown of life. So again, after finding favor from the Lord, Joseph, right? He was lied on, thrown right back in prison. And he finds his way, back into being second in power, right? Because the Lord gave him dreams. If y'all want to go back and read the history of Joseph, it's some, but he's thrown back in prison again. He found favor through, being able to interpret a dream, right? But now it's time to purpose, to reveal the purpose of God, why all this is happening, right? The Lord sends plagues of drought to the land. That's a dream that the king had. And he's able to interpret it to the king. So the Lord gives him a place to do what? To build up Egypt during those times of plenteous, right? And when it's drought, right, you have time to store it. But that is done for us. Pharaoh and them probably thought that was for them. That was for us to be saved. So we're going to get that. Genesis 41 and verse 54. Again, they found favor by us being around, by Joseph being around. They don't starve because Joseph is righteous. It's one man. It takes just one sometimes. Genesis 41.
Genesis, chapter 41, verse 54. And the 7 years of dark began to come, according as Joseph had said, and the dark was in all the land, but in all the land of Egypt there was bread.
So dearth is a what? It's a drought, right? No rain and crops ain't growing. So that means what? That means death was in all the lands. Because if you don't have water for your crops, you're gonna die because you can't eat, right? But in Egypt was good. Why? Because Joseph is there. But the purpose is for us to be saved. Keep reading.
Verse 55. And when all the land of Egypt was famished, the people cried to Pharaoh for bread. And Pharaoh said unto all the Egyptians, go unto Joseph. What he said to you, do. And the famine was over all the face of the earth. And Joseph opened all the storehouses and sold unto the Egyptians. And the famine waxed sore in the land of Egypt.
Come on.
And all the countries came into Egypt to Joseph for to buy corn, because that the famine was so sore in all the land.
So in all land. So what about Joseph's brothers? It was in their land too. They going through it. They probably was like, man, this, because we, they probably were thinking they cursed because of what they did to Joseph. But it was to save them. Jump to verse 42 and read 1 through 6.
Genesis chapter 42, verse 1. And when Jacob saw that there was corn in Egypt, Jacob said unto his son, why do ye look one upon another?
What y'all doing, man? Go do something about this. Jacob, right? The father. Come on.
And he said, behold, I have heard that there is corn in Egypt. Get you down thither and buy from us from thence, that we may live and not die.
Come on.
And Joseph's 10 brethren went down to buy corn in Egypt. But Benjamin, Joseph's brother, Jacob sent not with his brethren, for he said, lest peradventure mischief befall him.
So he was
came to buy corn among them.
Joseph. Come on.
Go ahead.
No.
And the sons of Israel. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I don't know if it's a lag or what. But you can keep reading.
The sons of Israel came to buy corn among those that came, for the famine was in the land of Canaan. And Joseph was the governor over the land, and it was that sold to all the people of the land. And Joseph's brethren came and bowed down themselves before him with the faces to the earth.
Man, the Lord is amazing, ain't it? This is the same dream that he gave Joseph. He told his brothers. The Lord is amazing. Again, he gave them a vision, right? A vision of what? Israel being saved. The same ones that despised him, that hated him, his brothers, bound at his feet. Does Joseph let pride puff him up, though? He don't let Joseph. Joseph is a righteous man. He's a righteous man. And you think he gets puffed up? Heck no. He loves his brothers, right? But it takes a righteous man to do this, what he just did. But I want to go to Jeremiah 9, verse 23, because it says something. Joseph doesn't let pride get in the way.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 9, verse 23. Thus said the Lord, let not the wise man glory in his wisdom.
Hold on right there. The wise man. Where'd you get wisdom from? If you're wise, where your wisdom come from? From the Lord, right? So you're gonna glory in the wisdom that belongs to the Lord? No, you know where it comes from. Joseph understands that, right? Keep reading.
Neither let the mighty man glory in his might.
So Joseph knows that he's putting these powers by who? By the favor of the Lord. Come on.
Let not the rich man glory in his riches.
Because we know we can't take those riches with him. Those riches are given to us by the Lord, right? Verse 24.
But let him that glory in this, that his understanding and knoweth me.
That he said, but let him that glorieth glory in this. You don't have pride in something. Have pride that you understand it and knoweth me. You understand the will of the Lord. You understand how he works. You understand his character. That's what we're going to glory in. Why? Because that fear is going to lead you to do what's right. It's going to let you be an upright man. That pride ain't going to get in the way. Just like pride doesn't let Joseph get in the way of Joseph. This brother could have been angry. He probably would have been justified. Does he do that? No, he's wise. He understands what the purpose of the Lord is. Keep reading.
That I am the Lord, which exercise loving kindness, judgment, and righteousness in the earth. For in these things I delight, said the Lord.
Delight. Joseph was a delight to the Lord, man. That's why he found favor. He's like, I can take this brother through all this. He's still gonna remain righteous, man. Joseph was humble, a righteous man, a man that we can emulate, a man we can look to and say, man, that's a good example. That's a good example right there. right? A lot of and man, a lot of brothers, you know, who have done these same things, be falsely accused. How they thrown in prison? What? How do you think they come out? They probably come out bitter, right? That don't happen to Joseph. But all of our people that's falsely accused, some of them, you know, they come out with a sense of gratitude. But do they go back to keeping the commandments? You have a lot of them doing what? Going to Islam. Why they don't go to the word? Right? But we can do it if we put on that righteousness, man. So his brothers come to get food, man. So the whole reason Joseph has gone through this is to save his people. When you look back at your life, man, you may be going through things that, you know, they got you to this point. To do what? To help others. We all got a story. You know, I got a story. Brother Uzziah got a story. History that y'all been in the midst of. You went through all of that to get this understanding, to give and help others. And that's what Joseph is doing right here, right? This example we can use by him remaining faithful. Go to Genesis 45 verse 1 now.
The book of Genesis, chapter 45, verse 1. Then Joseph could not refrain himself before all them that stood by him, and he cried, cause every man to go out from me. And there stood no man with him, while Joseph made himself known unto his brothers.
So he reveals, man, you gotta imagine that probably would have been a fearful thing to these brothers, and it was. Again, I want y'all to go back and read this history, right? Because it's amazing, right? Verse 2.
And he wept aloud, and the Egyptians and the house of Pharaoh heard. And Joseph said unto his brethren, I am Joseph. Doeth my father yet live? And his brethren could not answer him, for they were troubled at his presence.
Come on.
And Joseph said unto his brethren, come near to me, I pray you. And they came near, and he said, I am Joseph, your brother, whom ye sold into Egypt.
Man, come on.
Now therefore be not grieved, nor angry with yourselves, that ye sold me hither.
So hold on, man. He's worried about them. He's worried about them being angry at themselves. Here's a different brother right here, man. He said, don't be angry, y'all. Don't be angry with yourself. There's a reason for that. I'm telling you, this brother right here is somebody to emulate. Come on.
For God did send me before you to preserve life.
To do what?
To preserve life.
You see that? A lot of things that we go through, if we hold, you know, and if you're keeping the commandments, it's for a reason, right? You got to hold your integrity through that adversity. Keep reading.
For these 2 years had the famine been in the land, and yet there are 5 years in the which there shall neither be earing nor harvest.
Come on.
And God sent me before you to preserve you a posterity in the earth, and to save your lives by a great deliverance.
So he's using little Joseph to deliver the nation of Israel, to give glory to the Lord. All praise to the Most High for this example right here. That we show that our God is a true God. Verse 8.
So now it was not you that sent me hither, but God. And he had made me a father to Pharaoh, and Lord of all the house of his house, and a ruler throughout all the land of Egypt.
So he revealed himself. He showed him that the purpose for it, to save the posterity of Israel. Right? Why? Because it was a promise that he gave to our forefathers. The Lord's gonna be faithful in what he promises us, man. This brother could have gotten mad at God. That's what a lot of people do. When they go do things, they get mad at God. Why God let this happen to them, right? Because there are circumstances. And we do what? Go into sin, something like some other people do. Right? When a loved one get killed, we blame God. When we lose our house, our job, we blame God. We don't look at ourselves, right? We don't look at it that just maybe, you know, he took that out of the way so I can see him more, right? And Joseph understood that. And because he was faithful, he was rewarded for that. All right. Last script, go to Romans 8 and verse 28.
The book of Romans, chapter 8, verse 28. And we know that all things work together for the good to them that love God, to them who are called according to his purpose.
So all things work together for the good to them that love God, that keep the commandments, right? That keeps his word. Everything that you're going through is working for the good in the long run. It says to them who are the called according to his purpose. The purpose, right? We don't understand what the purpose is sometimes. Sometimes you got to be faithful to it. Do what's right, man. So if you're going through something, no, you're keeping the commandments, but things ain't going away. You think it should be, don't give up, y'all. It's for a reason. Look to Joseph. You know, if you remain honorable in choosing life, remember the promise in Deuteronomy 30 and 16. Go get that real quick. I said that was the last script. Deuteronomy 30 and 16. Remember, anything that you're going through, this is the promise. If you remain honorable.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 30, verse 16. In that I command this day to love the Lord thy God, to walk in his ways, and to keep his commandments, and his statutes, and his judgment, that thou mayest live and multiply. And the Lord thy God shall bless thee in the land whither thou goest to possess it.
So wherever we're in the midst of, right, we keep his commandments and walk in his ways, we're going to live, y'all. That's the promise. You're going to multiply. It's just not in this life, but it's the life to come. So I hope as you go through things, y'all don't look at, we got to stop looking at everything as a negative, right? If you're doing what's required of you, it's the purpose of the Lord. Go through it in righteousness and see how you come out. Don't revert back to sin, right? Just because, you feel like it's the easiest thing to do. Again, it's a promise behind you keeping the commandments. So be upright, y'all, in adversity. Hold firm to your integrity. Y'all boys got something y'all want to add, or are there any questions? I know a lot of times when we go through something, man, we want to give up. Can't give up. And came too far. How many times Joseph could have gave up, man, being thrown in prison? That brother was thrown in prison a lot of times. He did absolutely nothing. Being tempted, he didn't give in to that. All right, bro. I don't see no questions. Lord's will was edifying. If you got any questions or topics y'all want us to bring out, you just want to check. Again, we got the Discord there. Somebody always on, reach out, conversate, send an email at info@heirsofisrael.org. Or if you want to check out the website, you can check the website out at www.heirsofisrael.org. All right, fam, that's all I got. Lord's will, we'll see y'all in the class on Thursday. With that, I say shalom, peace, and blessings.
Shalom, peace and blessings.
Shalom, peace and blessings.
Shalom, peace and blessings.